It's good.
Thank you,
Thank
Vince.
you. Welcome. We're honored. Oh, it really is on. Good morning, everybody. Today is Friday, November 17th, 2023. I am Mavis Bates, Chair of the Energy and Environmental Committee. So let's bring to order the Kane County Energy and Environmental Committee for today. And clerk, would you please call the roll?
Okay. Allen. Caius.
Vice President.
Roth.
Roth here.
Strathman.
Strathman here.
Young.
Young here.
And Tarver. Bates. Oh,
Mr. Tarver has requested remote attendance due to work-related issues. May I have consensus? Thank you very much. Okay, may I have a motion and potentially to approve the
Madam
minutes?
Chair.
Yes, sir.
Caius, I would respectfully request unanimous consent for the minutes. of
Granting
October
consent?
13th.
Okay, thank you
2023.
very much. I don't know of any public comment that we have for today, online or in person. Okay, Ms. Wolnick, you are on.
thank you. I don't have anything this morning. I did have an award that the county's received that Rob Linky was going to present, but he's not available right now. So if he's available before the end of the meeting, we'll do that under new business.
Okay. I can hardly wait. But I'll force myself. Recycling, Ms. Ryan is,
She in Zoom?
Yeah. Hi. Can you guys hear me?
yes.
Yes.
Hi. Sorry I couldn't be with you all this morning. I guess I am sick kid, no childcare. It's a fun time. So here
Hope it
we
gets
are.
better soon.
Thank you. But yeah, wonderful to be able to join on Zoom to present a couple of resolutions. The first is going to be authorizing an intergovernmental agreement with the Village of West Dundee and eWorks Electronic Services for continued operation of the West Dundee Recycling Center. This is very much the same as the agreement we've had with West Dundee over the last 7 years. Essentially, they make a spot in the back of their public works building available for eWorks trailer and for the Gaylords that they use to contain all the recycling material that are that's collected at that site. The agreement does restrict us somewhat. We can't be as experimental with the materials that we accept. It really is pretty much limited to the electronics, consumer electronics, the clothing and shoes, and paper and cardboard. I did write in here that we are very likely to want to do the recycling campaign sign recycling again next year for the elections. And I did collect them at West Dundee last year. But it's temporary. They only stay on site for about a week or two following the election, and then it's all done. So that's pretty much it. We do pay the Village of West Dundee $750 per month. That's the same amount.
Ms.
as
Ryan,
last year.
Ms. Ryan,
Yes.
could you talk a little slower? I can't keep up.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. You
I
know all this
I
stuff
haven't
so much.
actually had
and
my
I'm-
coffee yet, so I'm surprised. Okay, we pay the Village of West Dundee $750 per month for use of the space, and that is basically it. Is there anything you want me to repeat since I was going a little fast?
Okay, I think we did. Are there any questions? Mr. Roth has a question.
This is a question I had. Do the county sites for recycling, do they accept the styrofoam, or is that only when we have the special events? Because I see a lot of styrofoam that I don't think it's getting recycled because it's not necessarily convenient or people aren't aware.
At the moment, we only have it at events. The problem with styrofoam is it blows everywhere. So we don't, like the typical Gaylord box container, probably it is not going to work for styrofoam. You
Right.
need something covered. And we haven't quite figured out how to make that work
Okay.
at either site yet.
Now, I did hear, and it's hearsay because I don't have the facts. There's some company in this area that will accept it, and I'm not sure where it is, if it's in Aurora or North Aurora. Yes, ma'am. Ms. Bates has that answer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's DART in Aurora. They have big, they have like a dumpster system set up or
Well,
So-
if they'd be willing, if we could advertise that, because like Aurora's not that far from me, I would be willing to drive down type of thing. Because when you get it, it's usually a large amount and you don't necessarily want to keep it for 3 or 4 months.
yeah.
Yeah, there's actually two locations. There is that DART in North Aurora, and then there's a shipping company or a logistics company called Chicago Logistics Service. They're actually in West Dundee. And I do advertise them to the extent I can. I mean, they're on our website under
Okay.
styrofoam.
If we would do a flyer maybe occasionally to remind people and then, but also give that company a heads up, because if we advertise all of a sudden, 1 million people show up, we don't want them saying, all right, stop.
Yeah.
It's very well used. It's often
okay.
sold to the gills and you
Okay.
have to go back to.
So that was just a thought, because I had heard about it, but I hadn't seen,
Mhm,
there's so much on the website, you can't catch everything.
mhm, good.
I'll make
good,
sure
good.
it's in the green guide too.
Okay, then, maybe have Julie put it in Kane County Connect as a reminder.
Okay, may I, any other description, Ms. Ryan? I forgot to ask for may I have a motion to pass this resolution?
Caius would move.
Caius moves,
Rothel second.
Roth will second. Any more further discussion or questions? Mr. Young?
Is this a program that we have been doing for several years, or is this the first year we're going to do it?
Yes, this is 7 years we've been at the West Dundee DPW.
Okay, any other questions? Mr. Caius?
A comment. It's very convenient for those in the north end of the county, of course, which I happen to be, which is very nice. The environmental, on another note for styrofoam really quickly, the environmental defenders of McHenry County have volunteer and have a site in Algonquin. If you live in Algonquin and also reside in Kane County, which I happen to do, you can drop your styrofoam there that they maintain very well at their public works office.
Do we
in
have,
Algonquin.
do we have that on our website, Ms. Ryan? Do you have that?
It's not in our
I
county.
don't think so because it's residency limited. But
If you sneak your styrofoam to me, I would be happy to bring it. Because I go up there practically daily.
Be careful what you wish for. It may not fit.
It's not one of my favorite words in public. And in Aurora, it's way up at the north end of Aurora, near 31. It's on, I think it's called Pine Street. It's a little back road, but right on the line with North Aurora. So I hope it's convenient to other people as
Yeah.
well. Okay.
I do, regarding that, are we looking for more sites for, drop-offs and stuff across the county?
More science about?
Sites.
More sites.
And then we can take this offline. Claire, I can talk to you later about it. I have an idea.
More science?
Sites, drop-off sites,
Sites.
drop-off sites.
Okay, all right.
I'll
thank you.
I'll take it offline with Claire.
Okay, we all, we
Yeah.
can always explore science too. But this
Um,
Ryan is,
And there again, I would have to get approval, but like at our museum, we could potentially have a drop-off site there, but I don't know the qualifications
okay.
and the rules and all that fun stuff.
You already think your site, your museum is too small. I'm not sure. you wanna do that for,
Well, but there's lots of property there and
Okay.
and if it needs to be behind fence and would somebody else maintain it or would we have to? We don't have the resources to have someone
Okay.
there,
All
but
right, I'm sure you.
It's a
and
good
Ms. Ryan would
location.
have a very interesting conversation.
yes.
Good.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, call the roll. Okay. Call the roll, please.
I think she's Alan. Caius. Oh,
Alan has arrived via Zoom. Miss Allen,
Alan, I.
there she
Okay.
goes.
Thank you.
Caius,
Yes.
Roth,
Roth, yes.
Strathman,
Strathman, yes.
Young,
Young, yes.
Tarver. And Bates.
Bates, yes. Okay. So, point of order. Miss Allen, did you ask for remote access? Or do you have permanent remote access? Okay, we'll
I'm-
just,
And I'm just playing with my technology in the car. I did not ask for permission. I am on my way. I'm just late. It's sort of a DNA thing. See
okay,
you,
good.
see you shortly.
Well, drive safely then.
Thanks.
Drive your hand. Okay, moving right along. Ms. Ryan, would you please describe the next resolution?
Yes. They get the next, they get it up on screen.
Was there a question?
231564, I believe, is the next one.
There it is. Okay. I will endeavor to speak more slowly this time. So this is an authorization for the county to enter into a professional services contract for continued collection of recyclable materials with eWorks. It essentially continues our relationship. Again, this is a long ongoing relationship with eWorks for them to serve as our official collector of electronics under the Consumer Electronics Recycling Act. But also, as our site steward at both West Dundee and at Fabian, and at the Aurora pop-up events. They make sure that the sites are, free of clutter, that everything's packed away and ready for transport at the end of every day. They help people unload the cars, which, is a big deal if you have a, super heavy television in the back, or if you come with a trunk full. It's very valuable to have that staffed help, which is, is a model that a lot of counties use, but some don't. They just have it, everything is self-service, and there are huge challenges associated with that. We didn't bid this contract because of the low cost. Essentially, the only cost in here is $9,000 annually as a reimbursement for equipment expenses related to the sites. These are things that other counties more or less provide. as part of their sites. Fabian is a little Spartan, lacking in infrastructure, et cetera. So they have to rent a trailer, they have to rent a forklift, that kind of thing. And yeah, that's essentially it. Again, the format of this has changed a little bit from last year, but otherwise the actual work to be done, the intention is the same, to keep the same relationship that we've had with eWorks.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I think we're ready. Are there any other questions? May I have a motion to pass?
Roth will make the motion.
Also pass. Strathman will second. Thank you. Call the roll, please.
Allen. Caius,
Guys, yes.
Roth,
Roth, yes.
Strathman,
Strathman, yes.
Young,
Young, yes.
Tarver, and Bates.
Bates, thank you.
If we could jump back to an award to the county.
Okay, please do.
Sorry, my apologies for my tardiness. I had a appointment this morning. So last Thursday, the Fox River Study Group had their annual meeting. This is the 20th year that the Fox River Study Group has been in existence. Kane County was one of the founding members of that organization. You may recall that the Fox River Study Group is an organization that's comprised of environmental groups, sanitary districts, and municipalities, along with the county, all working together to address the water quality issues, primarily on the main stem of the Fox River, but in the Fox River watershed overall. And so we've been working on that over the last 20 years. It's been kind of a long, meandering process that started out with collecting data to help the Illinois EPA make more informed decisions on the water quality regulations. And then from collecting that water quality data, it kind of morphed into the study group doing its own analysis to help drive the decision-making process and establishing the rules for meeting the water quality goals in the Fox River itself. And so at the annual meeting last week, the Fox River Study Group Board of Directors recognized the founding members and the longtime contributors to that organization. And so we were presented with this wonderful plaque last week. So I just wanted to present that to all of you.
Yay.
Photo op here.
Yeah, yeah. Who's?
I'm sorry?
I smell a photo op.
Yes.
Is there a photo op somewhere?
definitely.
Somebody would like to do that? We can do that right now.
The committee together and get a.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do the whole committee.
Can we want to do it afterwards or?
Why don't we do it afterwards?
you-
Maybe so we can get it.
Okay. All right, but do you
and
have to
then-
leave or are you gonna stay?
I'll text them when the meeting is done and we can gather right after the meeting.
Okay.
And we also have a second announcement from Miss Ryan of Exciting News as well. So I'll turn it back over to Miss Ryan.
Miss Ryan.
Yeah, thanks. This was a very late breaking news, so I didn't have a chance to make a slide or anything, but the US EPA has made money available for work on recycling in the last year for the most money that's been available in well over 2 decades as grants, which has been very exciting. The first slug of money was for infrastructure projects, and then the second slug of money was for recycling education and outreach projects. And I worked with several of my counterparts and colleagues in the other Chicago area counties, Cook, DuPage, McHenry, Will, Lake, all of us were involved together. Working with the Municipal Mayor's Caucus to put together a proposal, a $2 million proposal for a multimedia recycling outreach and education campaign in the greater Chicago region. And we just found out this week, the press announcement went out on, I think yesterday on America Recycles Day, officially that we were funded. So we're super excited to get going on that in the coming years. It is a 3-year project, but I think, it won't be specific to Kane County quite, it'll be more overarching, but the idea is to get people excited about recycling again.
Great. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think there's been a lot of bad propaganda out there about recycling, that it doesn't really, get recycled. And maybe we need another trip to the MRF one of these days, so people can see everything being really recycled. So thank you, Claire. Thank you, Ms. Ryan.
I'm sorry, I think you broke up. What was the amount for that?
$2 million.
2 million, and it goes to which counties?
So it's going through the municipal mayor's caucus. I don't know if any money, or at least not very much, is going to come to any of the counties directly. But the campaign will be broadcast in Chicago, Cook County, and all the collar counties.
No, thank you. No, thank you. I don't even want it here. I don't. No, okay. Sorry. Put it over there, please. No, I don't like it.
You've lost control,
Yeah, I don't, please, if you're gonna do this, do it before the meeting starts, because it's very disruptive to the concentration of the meeting.
Anita Lewis,
So
District 3. I said Anita Lewis, District 3. So Claire had touched on National Recycling Day being this week.
Yep.
And I just wanted to mention there was a really good article in the Daily Herald about it. And it was interesting because they were talking about all the progress that we've made in recycling, and that recycled products are now going into things like carpet. So it's like a really good thing. It's not just, we're going to send it back and it's be another bottle. It's things like carpet. And they even had in there about cigarette butts can be recycled now.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And so, I mean, it was just really a good article, but if you haven't seen it, just go to the Daily Herald and check it out, because it's well worth the little time to read it.
Good. Daily Herald?
Nope. Oh, Mr. Roth.
Mr. Ross?
I had a technical question. You made a comment about visiting the MRF. Is that a bar down in Aurora or what?
That's not MURPH. It's the MRF, the Municipal Recycling Facility. And we visited there 2 years ago, maybe. It's very exciting.
Okay, and where's it at?
I don't know.
Off of
We all
55
got
in
in
the
the
city.
car.
North.
Is that what?
You just drive.
Up to 55 in the city?
55 in the city.
Okay, yeah, I would, okay,
Yeah,
thank
the
you. I just wanted to understand edification. Thank you for
Exciting.
explaining that.
And you have to go when it's cold out, because otherwise it's very hot.
Oh, because of the smell.
Okay,
Thank you.
great. So much good news today. I have a little bit of good news.
Madam Chair Gums,
Gums, go ahead.
thank you. I know I'm not on the committee, but
That's okay. Your hand is
random
up.
Friday thought from Gums here. When we do our recycle, notifications, is there any way that we could tie into littering? Because littering, I'm old enough to remember when littering was a huge issue, and then we got better, and it seems like we're getting worse again. Is there any way we can tie that in somehow in our messaging?
You want an anti-littering campaign?
Well, I don't know if we can tie it into the recycle campaign somehow, because littering is getting worse. That's all. Just a random Friday Gums
Okay.
thought.
Good idea. Well, don't litter, recycle. Right?
Transportation actually has a campaign that groups can sign up for picking up litter. Our Knights of Columbus have been picking up along Randall Road for about 20 years. Adopt a highway. So we should work with them because they're doing it,
Well,
and maybe get that to expand.
yeah, that's a good idea. And I think maybe I'm putting words into Ms. Gums' mouth, but I think we've got to prevent,
Oh, yeah.
stop the
Right,
littering
right,
before
right,
it
right.
happens, and then pick it up
Yes.
after it happens.
No,
Correct.
Ms. Bates, your words are accurate. This is Gums again. And I just think, a lot of people pay attention to our recycling messaging. So people that normally would never know about our Adopt a Highways or our events where we're picking up trash could see that in tandem with the recycling effort. And I just think that would be a great opportunity.
Maybe there's some synergy there. We can put them together. Okay, thanks, Ms. Gums.
Okay, I'm done.
I was at a red light one time and the guy in front of me opened up his window and dropped some garbage. I got out of my car, picked it up, handed it to him and said, "I'm sorry, you dropped this." So,
And
he
what
just
did
went
you
over
do?
it.
Don't do
Miss-
that again, please.
You don't
That's
expect-
that's dangerous.
Okay, I won't. I won't do it. Miss Allen.
For what it's worth, one of my neighborhood groups is an adopt a highway participant and I.
Miss
maybe
Allen,
it's
would you
with
use
the
the microphone,
instructions-
please?
No, Mike, you're not.
sorry.
using Your mic properly.
Maybe I'm just not close enough. Is that
There you
better?
go.
One of my neighborhood groups is an adopt a highway participant and I don't know if it comes with the rules or the guidelines, but when we do our pickups, there is a recycling part. So whoever comes to pick up at the central location is looking for trash and recyclable bags.
Okay,
So that is part of the program already.
good.
We just need more of us, right?
Okay, more adopting? Okay, thank you. Any other comments on this? Do we need to vote? Did we vote on this second one already? I forget.
I think we did.
Anybody else? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, any other comments? These are all good comments. Thank you. Sustainability, Ms. Hinshaw.
Good morning. Can you go to the sustainability slides? Thank you. Well, let's talk about both of them. So I kind of mentioned last time the climate pollution reduction grant. And so we kind of campaigned out, I emailed, I don't know, 60 people or so, just kind of looked up Public Works, Forest Preserve, anywhere from Will County. I started off with all the towns in Kane first, and all the townships. But we reached out to Will and DuPage. And so the idea again is to get a larger coalition to rake in more money, of course, but also to see how we can work across the counties on either, you know, we're still working on what we're going to be working on, and we are going to meet after Thanksgiving and kind of compile all our thoughts. We put out a couple surveys to see what each place wants to look at. So this one says 12, but now we have 16 people that are interested. Again, across Will, DuPage, and Kane. So that's
Wonderful,
Yeah.
wonderful work, Ms. Hinshaw.
that's-
And we're having a presentation on this topic
Yes,
in a
and-
couple minutes.
Yes. And so Chris Murphy from Confluence Climate Consulting, she has been giving our talks. We've done three, not webinars, but we've done 3 talks with 3 different groups of people about what all it is and, you know, what can be done with the funding. And so she's going to present today on that for us. We would like to hire her as a consultant for helping us write this grant as well. So it'd be great that you can meet her if you have not. And then Solar Switch is coming up. So this is a program run with Cub, MREA, and iChooser. So we did this in the summer. So it's a campaign where we set out our first, it should have been out in the Daily Herald potentially on the 14th, I believe it was sent out. And so it goes out, we have direct mailers to, I want to say 18,000. I'm not sure if that's the number's quite correct. And they can say, yes, we're interested in solar. And then the iChooser puts out kind of like a bidding contract to see, and then who they can find for, you know, buying the solar panels. And then the people get them at a discounted rate, right? And so there's going to be 4 webinars coming up about solar power hours, about what it all is. And so that's starting, and that's pretty exciting. So the deadline to sign up for that is the 12th. I have a lot of information. It's not in here because they just sent all the flyers and everything like after this was done. But I will be presenting it at the meeting tomorrow with Bill Foster. I'll be bringing some Solar Switch stuff. So if you're there, I'll have some more information. And yeah, and so over the summer, there was 46 people that ended up going with Kane County. And so we're hoping, and they did say that in the fall, sometimes it's a bit slower just because we can't do the live events, you know, because we don't want people driving out, you know, in January, be like, oh, come, you know. And so it might be a little bit slower, but they're hoping, really hopeful, because the first one and, word of mouth, that will actually get more. So we'll see.
And I was part of a Solar Switch
You were?
program. I
Yeah.
was
Excellent.
in 2019.
Yeah. They've changed their name many times, and I think they're
But
staying.
this is the group buy still.
Yes. Yep,
Okay.
group buy,
It's still
yes.
the group buy. Okay.
Yeah.
And when it was all over, I got a check for $1,200
Mhm.
for being part of the Solar
Excellent.
Switch group buy program. Mr. Ross.
Sarah, could you send the link for all that flyers and
Yeah.
stuff? And I would recommend work with Julie to send out a reminder, since the deadline's coming up.
Yeah, so we actually, so they have it set up. So the first kind of like, they have like a soft open and then like a shout it out to everyone. So I'm kind of following their timeline.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, and so the next one for King County Connect should go out around the 25th.
Okay,
Or right after Thanksgiving, yeah.
ready. Thank you.
Yeah.
There's a hand, Mr. Caius.
Yeah, I'm a little lost here. The deadline for what is December 12th?
So it's
Sign up.
to sign up to say that you're interested. Yeah.
that you're
Just
interested.
set your interest, yes. And then from there, they will go through the different steps where they have the information, the webinar information, and then they actually have someone come out to your house and estimate your house. So you have time to decide if you actually want to do it. But it's just to sign up, to know how many potential they have for the group buy.
To sign up for interest by the 12th, but the deadline to actually sign up for the program is sometime down the road.
Yes, and I don't know all those dates off the top of my head. I think the next one's like the end of January is like you have to sign, like, yes, I'm actually doing it. And then February, I believe, is when they have someone come out. And then I think the install, if I'm thinking my timeline correctly, I think the install is like everyone's installed by like May.
Okay.
Wow.
And then you mentioned, the second question is, you mentioned there was an event tomorrow with Foster? is that what you
Yes.
said?
In Huntley, he's talking, it was kind of the one that Mavis was gonna do, that got canceled twice, unfortunately. It's with, forget Jen, and I don't know her last name.
Jen Hensley?
That sounds, I don't know, I'm sorry, I don't know off the top of my head. I just know it's Foster, he's talking about climate change, yeah. So,
Okay. I'd be
That's in
interested-
Huntley?
I don't think I've seen an email or announcement. If you have gotten that, could you forward that to our committee?
yeah, I've only saw it on the Facebook page when I was looking it up, yes.
I would forward to all
Who-
board members.
Who's Facebook?
Bill Foster's name?
Oh, Foster,
Yeah.
okay.
I looked him up and that was the first link that came up.
Okay.
I was like, event, well,
Cool.
Hi, Mr. Ross. Go ahead.
Couple months ago, Aurora announced they were going to put up a big solar field out at Aurora Airport. Has anyone talked to them on what's happening on that and stuff? I mean, they talked, and I forget the number, but it was a huge solar field they were, and then offer it. But I haven't seen any details at all.
I have not either. I've not looked into that. So you at the Aurora Airport?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think the mayor made a big press release.
Okay.
Somebody's here.
Well,
Mr. Trammell.
our industry representative might have information.
Is this on? Yeah, I'm Arnie Schramm with Progressive Energy Group. We're working with the city of Aurora on that project. It's right now going through the interconnection study with ComEd. There's at least, we think, 10 megawatts that'll hook into a substation, that there's available capacity. When you're dealing with these large scale solar projects, the biggest limiting factor is how much capacity is on the substations. So there's an interconnect study going on. The solar developers also got about $20 million dedicated to potential infrastructure improvements on the ComEd substation. But we'll have a lot more information probably in January, and then we can update, we'll be updating the city of Aurora and all the surrounding areas.
So, yeah, and I'd like us to get the.
Is that community solar?
Yeah, that's all community solar. And it's a community-driven community solar, so it's really dedicated to the Aurora residents in the city of Aurora.
Okay.
And Aurora businesses.
Yeah, basically all Aurora residents and businesses will get priority on that community solar.
So I'd like our committee to be included in that in January, then if that's available. Thank you.
Mhm.
Getting power from it? you mean?
Okay, exciting news.
Can you go to the next slide?
Yes, please.
Yay!
Yay.
I
we
flipped
did
the
it.
switch.
Great day.
Yes, it was very exciting to see that. Whoa, there's a few of you there. it was a very exciting day. It was a little bit windy, but it was still gorgeous, and everyone got to talk, and we got tons and tons of pictures. So overall, going to save more than $4 million over 25 years, which is absolutely wonderful. There is a video now. It was not ready, but it is now, and it's Mavis and Jody talking, and Madam Chair as well. And I think we're going to watch that.
And I would just mention that the video was created by Progressive Energy and Arnie Schrammel's group, and it's fantastic. So it's on our website now, and Blair will pull that up. Uh-oh. Okay, maybe we'll see that next. Okay.
Beautiful picture there.
Should we wait, Blair?
What we're celebrating today is the opening of our 2.8 megawatt solar facility that will provide power for approximately 50% of the energy uses of our Judicial Center and our Adult Justice Center.
This came as a dream. Started about 3 years ago, a new board got elected, and with that, the Energy and Environment Committee worked very hard and very diligently.
I'm Mavis Bates, Kane County Board Member, District 4, and I spearheaded this solar panel project.
Some of the positives about this site were that it was in an area that was not being utilized and shown anywhere on our master plan as future building locations. It was also an area that the county had previously used to
That's not
dispose
how it really
of
sounds.
unsuitable soil from the construction of our buildings. And so it was a great location because it did screen itself from the neighbors as well as utilize underutilized property in our area.
This was a power purchase agreement, which means Kane County had no upfront costs. We would be leasing our land to the solar developers, and then we would be purchasing the power back from the developers at a fixed rate for the next 25 years. And that's where the big savings comes from.
We are now saving annually our taxpayers about $200,000 a year.
Over the 25-year span, we'll be saving about $5 million.
But more important than that, we're really saying that we're going to do what we promise. That we promise we're moving forward to have a cleaner environment. For the next 25 years, it's going to prove to be just a wonderful learning opportunity for all of us and a true state-of-the-art facility for Kane County and its residents.
Yay.
For Arnie. If you do scroll up a little bit, you'll see the solar switch link is on that page too. So, but that was a beautiful video.
On which page? On the.
On our solar page. Yeah, the one I was, the solar switch program is
Okay.
on that same page. Just to let
Okay,
you know.
thank you. Because I've yet to get permission, but that's okay. Now I've seen it. Okay, thank you very much. Next on the agenda. Oh, Miss Lewis.
How much should we get back for leasing that land out?
So what we get back is the opportunity to purchase the electricity at a reduced rate. So we've leased the land to them, I think, for like $1. But it's not even specified in the contract how much we've leased it to them. But it's their equipment. We got all that work. They moved the mountain. It turns out you can move a mountain. They graded all that land. So their equipment, their fence. And so what we get back is right now we're paying, well, we're going to go into that, but it was 3.5 cents per kilowatt. It might be slightly higher than that now. But instead of a rate which could go up to 10 or 12 cents over the next 25 years, we have locked in that 3.5, 3.9, 4.2. So that's what we get back.
Not actually getting a lease.
No.
I was just curious.
As far as I could tell in the contract, it did not specify the amount, but it's,
Just curious.
okay, Mr. Young.
I have a David Young, I have a question. So we're gonna save $200,000 per year. That's estimated, but are we gonna measure that as well? So that we really know how much, because maybe it's more, maybe it's less, I don't know, but we're gonna measure that, right?
Yeah, it'll change when we do our electric aggregation contracts for the county's facilities, and that rate changes over that 25-year period. And so just like with animal control, we've come back to this committee and reported back on the savings. And now we have a great tool that Arnie's group has introduced us to that was presented at admin committee that will allow us to more easily pull the bills and do those calculations so we can do a great presentation for you guys.
Yeah, great. Any other questions? Mr. Caius?
I had one, but I forgot. Oh, and there's a guarantee along with in the contract that there will be a certain percentage that produced every year, right? I mean, there's a minimum.
Yep, and that's in the omnibus
table
amendment
is in
based
our
on the
agenda.
actual panels that were installed.
So even though the declines are going to be guaranteed that we'll never not get nothing, it'll be at least 80% or something.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. Moving right along, Ms. Sincha.
I'm going to pass it over to Ms. Molnick.
We have a resolution following along with the solar field. As you recall, we approved a PPA, power purchase agreement, as well as a lease agreement for the site. And many of the items that were specific to the field and the panels and the production rates were estimates at the time we approved that PPA and lease because we were still designing the site. And so what this agreement does is it finalizes those production rates as well as finalize the rate that we will be paying. There were several items within the contract, such as the moving of the mountain, our fencing upgrade that we requested, as well as the interconnection fees that were estimated at that time and were allowed to be escalated. And so in the original power purchase agreement, there was a range between 0.035 dollars per kilowatt to 0.042. And so that was as approved in the original power purchase agreement. We don't have the final number here today. The reason we're presenting this to you today is the fact that the solar field is operational and we're going to begin getting bills. And so our process here at the county takes so long to go through that we really need to know what that final kilowatt hour rate is as soon as possible. And so before executive committee, we've been working hard with Arnie and with GRNE on going through all their numbers for those items that could escalate, items that have gone up, items that have gone down. We have multiple Excel spreadsheets going. We have a lot of documents from GRNE that we're going through to finalize that number. So they've given us one number. We believe the number is slightly lower, but we'd like to start this resolution through the process. So once that number is finalized, we are able to get on that, and then our bills that will be coming to the county will be accurate and correct. Any questions?
So Ms. Caius, just so in the agenda here, it says we're just saying it's the minimum to the maximum, which is 0.
The number isn't in there yet.
0.042.
Correct. I'll need to revise this before it goes to exec, hopefully,
When we pass this, we will expect it to be
the final number, but
expected to be modified possibly.
correct. And it won't go over what that 0.4042 is, which was approved in the original PPA, that we're maxed out at that based on that original agreement.
You know what? May I have a motion to potentially pass?
Yeah,
this?
I'll make the motion.
Caius would second.
Caius second, thank you. Did
Okay.
you have a question, Mr. Roth?
Because it went up slightly, did anyone run some numbers on what the effect of that is?
We haven't run the numbers, but we do know that the electric aggregation contract came in higher, so our savings is greater than what the
Oh, it's
200,000.
greater, it's
And we
not-
had originally run the numbers based on the lowest number and the highest number, so we've been using the more conservative number.
So you're saying we'll get actually more back because
Potentially, yes.
the way I was reading that we would get less, but you're
Yes.
saying, okay.
Yeah, because when we originally did the agreement, we were basing it on that higher number.
Okay, good enough. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, please call the roll.
Allen,
Aye.
Caius, Roth,
Roth, yes.
Strathman,
Strathman, yes.
Young,
Young, yes.
Carver, and Bates.
Bates, yes. Okay, we're in business. Yay. All right, next on the agenda is Confluence Consulting, do you want to introduce this?
Yes,
Cynthia?
so Chris Murphy, are you here? Oh, Chris, are you here?
I am here. Can you hear me?
Excellent. Yes, we can. So we can do it one of two ways. You can present your slides, or we can do it where flip through them like this. Which way do you prefer?
Let me try to share my screen real quick and see if
Okay.
it works.
All right, so this is Chris Murphy. She's been absolutely spearheading this and has a zillion ideas in her head that are amazing. And I'm really happy that she's been jumped on board.
Thank you, Sarah and Mavis. Can everyone see my screen okay?
Yes,
Okay,
perfectly.
great. Thank you. I'm Chris Murphy, and I'm here to talk today about the Climate Pollution Reduction Fund. It is an EPA grant that we are pursuing, and just an overview of the fund and our county-led coalition that Sarah's already talked about, and eligible projects to start giving you some ideas. And then if you have any questions that I could answer at the end. So an overview of this grant is the purpose of it is to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. And this language here is pulled straight from the notice of application, or the NOFO. I don't want to read word by word, but if you just remember reduce greenhouse gas emissions and any activities that would do that, that is what this grant is for. And there is more than $4 billion total for nationwide. They will break up that grant in 5 different tiers, anywhere from $2 million to $500 million per award. So we're not quite sure where we're going to fall in that tiered award cycle yet, because we're not quite sure what projects we're going to do yet. And that's what part of the discussion we're having internally and with the other municipalities. So some important dates that you should be aware of. The EPA would like a notice of intent by February 1st. They want to know who's going to participate and potentially how much money we're going to ask for. So that way they can kind of plan on their end what to expect. The Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus has received the planning portion of this grant already, and they are creating a Priority Climate Action Plan, or a PCAP, and that is due to EPA March 1st. We will be coordinating with them because what we put in here is implementation. It has to follow that plan, and I'll get into that a little bit more in detail later. And so this implementation phase grant, which is what we're going after, that is due April 1st. And then the timeline of the funding, EPA will let us know in July if we're going to be funded. They will start giving money out in October, and this is for a duration of 5 years. So eligible sectors for this funding are transportation, electric power, buildings, industrial, water, waste, and materials management, agricultural, carbon removal measures. So you can see it's very broad, and there's a lot that we could do potentially with this in the county. So to apply for this grant, we need to create a work plan. We need, like I said, it needs to be consistent with that Priority Climate Action Plan. We need to list out what greenhouse gas reduction measures we're going to pursue. We need to have some focus on disadvantaged populations and make sure that they're not left behind and that they're going to benefit from what we're doing. And then they want 2 different reporting periods for us to quantify our greenhouse gas emissions. As part of this, we are going to submit a budget of how we're going to use this money. Infrastructure projects is a big part of this. Incentive programs or rebates that we can potentially offer. Again, focusing probably on those disadvantaged or hard to reduce sectors. We can implement new policies with this as well. And this grant's unique or rare because they're allowing us to hire staff to actually create these programs and policies and run this whole program. So that is great because it's not going to overload existing staff. And then with the coalition, which we'll talk more about, we need to have a memo of agreement with all the different communities that are going to participate. So why a coalition? Well, first, it avoids duplication of efforts, especially in education and outreach efforts, and program administration. You know, if you have every community trying to do the same thing, we're duplicating efforts, we're kind of wasting money, and obviously we want to have some regional continuity as well. We know people move from one suburb to another, and we don't want everything to be different. You know, you want to have, say, composting services available to everyone, no matter where they live. And of course, it's a stronger case for an award. And there's also a larger potential impact. So they will hopefully give us more money to do what we're asking to do. And then we want to provide resources to communities that are currently lacking. Only a handful of communities in the Chicagoland region have a dedicated sustainability staff person. And, you know, we find out when we're talking to municipalities that there's just, even if there's the interest of doing a lot of these things, the staff doesn't have the time to do all these things that they want to do. So we want to provide some of those resources to them so we can accomplish some of these goals that we have. And the county is talking about leading a coalition, again, providing program staff to implement the reduction measures, and again, focusing on the low income and disadvantaged communities, and then trainings for workforce development. You know, we're talking about a lot of these projects that there's going to be local workforce that needs to build them and design them. And so let's get into eligible projects. So again, this is copied from the notice of application. I'm not going to read word for word, but I do want to highlight some of these projects, eligible projects, so you can all start thinking about, you know, what kind of projects can we do with this money? For transportation, programs that incentivize electric vehicle charging infrastructure. So installing more public chargers, programs that reduce vehicle miles traveled, energy efficiency for streetlights and traffic signals, signal timing to reduce idling, new and expanded transportation infrastructure projects for public transit and bike sharing and bicycle and pedestrian modes. So you think about maybe there's a bike trail where there's a gap in it. We're going to fund that and make sure that people can actually get to where they want to go. Incentive programs to purchase zero emission vehicles and equipment at the municipal and county level. So if you want to replace cars or a forklift, they've got those kinds of equipment available in electric and zero emissions now. And to update the building and zoning codes to encourage more walkable and bikeable and transit-oriented development. And some of these kind of overlap with between electricity and buildings and transportation, but getting into more into the electricity side of things, installation of renewable energy and energy storage systems on municipal facilities. So like you just installed that great solar field, but if you want to do more projects like that, you can pay for that with this, this grant, and add maybe battery storage for facilities that are considered critical. Targeting incentives for installation of renewable energy on commercial and residential buildings. Again, you know, is there a place that we want to see that happen? Policies and measures to streamline permitting for projects. Sometimes permitting can take a long time, and we know that we want to speed those up so we can get more projects completed. For buildings, we want to adopt and implement up-to-date building codes. New stretch code is coming out in a couple of months, so that's a great opportunity to adopt that. It's already done for us. Incentivizing energy efficiency in government and commercial and residential buildings. So programs to incentivize, like I talked about, rebate programs, maybe offer a rebate for if people change out their gas furnace to an air source heat pump or something like that. Again, appliances, heating, cooling, building products, electrification of government, commercial, and residential buildings. So a lot of times we don't have, people just aren't aware of the options or of the existing rebates. So we want to educate them on that and maybe create some policies that will help promote those. Again, installing electric vehicle charging at buildings, whether commercial and office space and residential, and implementing new benchmarking and building performance standards for commercial buildings. So those high energy users getting their energy use down, which really benefits everybody. Moving on to wastewater and materials management, incentives to reduce or divert waste, recycling and composting, which I know you already do a lot of, but can we do more? Can we do education outreach or incentive programs? Programs that would reduce plastic productions use in waste management. I know we already have a plastic bag fee in Batavia, but maybe some of those and education and outreach to make people aware about how much plastic they're using in their daily lives. Programs to expand composting and biodigestion infrastructure, policies and programs to reduce construction and demolition waste. Some places already have demolition waste ordinances that when you knock down a building, you kind of have to sort through the trash and be able to reclaim some of that materials. Installation of renewable energy and energy efficient measures at wastewater treatment plants because they use a lot of energy. Industrial wise, again, energy efficiency in industry, education and outreach to industry in our area, creating a market and expanding a market that would be for low embodied carbon materials and products such as concrete and steel. You know, the county and the municipalities build a lot of infrastructure. Can they use sustainable concrete and basically document the emissions that are associated with those? Agricultural incentives to fund electrical agricultural equipment, fertilizer application, anaerobic digestion. Again, they could participate in renewable energy. And so it's just that education and outreach, and sometimes we need a policy to help move it forward. Carbon removal measures, so forest management, planting trees in urban areas, green infrastructure projects and programs, restoring degraded lands such as brownfields to increase carbon absorption. And so now, if you have any questions or concerns, I would like to open it up.
The hands are going up.
Okay, and I'll stop sharing my screen so I can see.
Okay, all right, great. Mr. Roth.
Roth here. What's the county's, and this is a spin around the chair, how much money would we like to get? Since there's 3.4 billion available.
As Ms. Murphy pointed out, part of the work of this coalition is going to be drilling down on what aspects we want to focus on and then the amount that we're going to request. So it's a really early question to be
No,
asking.
and I
Yeah,
realize that, and that's
something
why I
we
said it's a spin around the
Yeah,
chair
and
answer.
we'll be continuing to bring updates to this
Okay.
committee as we go through that application.
So all the
process.
updates will come to this committee. Okay.
It's very tempting to guess.
Well, you know, because
But I'm
in
trying
the
not
report,
to.
there was stuff that wasn't even mentioned that we need to talk about
Pardon me?
too. There was stuff that wasn't even mentioned.
Well,
which
this is from
huge.
the NOFO.
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand that. That's why
Okay,
I'm interested in it because
okay. Good, good. Ms. Strathman.
Strathman here. With the agricultural part, will there be any application to look at lawn care and pesticide drift and that sort of thing? Will that be a part of this as well?
Do you, go ahead.
Yeah,
Yes, Joanna?
Yeah, I think, it falls under fertilizers and we can create policies or do education and outreach. We
Oh,
know
great.
that it does impact, our soil health, and if our soil's not healthy, it can absorb carbon. Also, we know it affects our water quality, so that's a co-benefit. It's not the purpose of this grant, but we will see that benefit with water quality as well.
I went on a tour of a forest preserve this late summer, and there was an arborist there, and he said the trees are telling us something with all the drift. They just don't know what the trees are telling us yet, because they're dying like crazy.
You're talking about the dicamba and the
Yes,
2,4-D?
yeah. So
Okay,
that would be very exciting to have that be a part of it.
okay. Ms. Allen?
We have a stream stabilization project already underway here. And it has to do with erosion and protecting property, both public and private. And most importantly, protecting our largest waterway. Is there any chance, that's a project that's already started, but is there any chance that we could get some additional funding for that out of this program? Or would you need to know a whole lot more?
Well, I'm kind of familiar with stream bank stabilization projects, but I don't know that we can, that it would qualify as a emission reduction. Because we have to quantify emissions reductions. So I don't know that we could say that the plants on the stream bank are absorbing enough carbon to get money for that.
But we'll see.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions? Ms. Strathman?
Yes, could we put Kristen Murphy's last slide back up that had her name and
Can
number?
you share your screen again?
In the packet.
Ms. Murphy?
I'd like to see it now so I can.
Okay. Yeah.
Would, that'd be great.
There we go. Can you see that?
That's exactly it. Thank you.
Okay, great. Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, if you have any questions, especially about those infrastructure projects, just remember we're trying to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, and you know, a lot of our emissions come from our transportation, our electricity, and our buildings, and how our buildings use that electricity or gas. So think about ways that we can reduce that through either energy efficiency or switching to renewable energy. So projects that would, and policies and programs that would relate to that. So obviously with electricity, solar is probably our #1 way to reduce our electricity carbon footprint. Wind also, especially in the agricultural areas, the undeveloped areas, may be feasible. You know, you think about areas that, you know, maybe not the best for planting. Can we do solar or wind in those areas? And then obviously making our buildings very efficient and switching over our transportation systems to low emissions or zero emissions vehicles, just because here we don't really have a strong public transit system that people could just ditch their cars. And I think with it being suburban, you know, we know that electric vehicles are probably going to be our #1 way to reduce our transportation emissions, is just because people don't have a whole lot of other options.
I'll jump in here. We do have Ms. Murphy's proposal letter included in the packet. Under our purchasing policy, as the Director of Environmental and Water Resources, I'm able to sign that proposal, but we wanted to bring it forward to you today. This size of grant, along with the grant application process, is beyond our capabilities within our small department. And so we're looking to contract with Ms. Murphy to do and assist the county with the coalition efforts as well as the application. And we would be using funding from our Civic Contribution Fund, which is coming from our electric aggregation program for unincorporated residents. That those funds were specifically set aside for sustainability and greenhouse gas goals. So it fits well with the intent of use of those funds, specifically with, as Ms. Murphy mentioned, the building efficiencies that we can roll out those type of programs to our residents, as well as electric vehicle charging stations and access to other measures by which they can reduce their greenhouse gas contributions. So we don't have a resolution because I am authorized to sign the contract, but we wanted to make sure that you had no objections and would like a consensus from the committee here today to move forward with contracting her for those services.
What's I don't know if I missed it. What's the dollar amount?
It's I don't have the exact dollar amount. Do you
No,
have, Sarah? It's a 29,000 and
Okay.
some change.
Okay, good enough. Thank you.
Ms. Strathman, did you have a comment?
Whoopee.
Whoopee, okay, that's a
It
comment.
sounds wonderful.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Do I have consensus? May I have consensus
Absolutely.
that we will move forward with the contract for Ms. Murphy? Okay, thank you. I believe that's the end of, is that the end of our, tree ordinance, please, which I am keeping very close to my heart, and so I want to keep this close to our agenda. Ms. Miller, please.
Good morning. Our team that is working on the tree protection ordinance met about 2 or 3 weeks ago, And we are fortunate to have as part of our team, Assistant State's Attorney Francis Cermak, who has been very helpful in providing us with some research on other ordinances in the region. So our team is in the process of reviewing that information and looking at what we think would be appropriate for King County.
We have an idea of a timeline yet?
No, we don't, not yet. I would say give it a few months.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's another yay.
Pardon me?
That's another yay.
That's another, yay. We're
Analyzing
working
all
on it,
that.
absolutely. Okay, then, I think we can move on to new business. Is there any new business before the committee? Chair's comments. Once again, I want to thank my fabulous staff for the way you're moving this forward. I want to thank Ms. Murphy for coming on board to help us and give us more capacity to go for this grant. This is a big fancy deal, you guys.
Yeah.
This, the $7 billion, who knows what, we have now, who said this? Was this you, Arnie? Whoever does the work gets the grants. And we're doing the work. We're doing our due diligence to make sure that we've done the study and that we're ready to receive these grants. And as a lifelong environmentalist, I have waited my whole life for somebody to say, here's the money to do what we need to do to protect the environment and to stop climate change. Comment?
Can I ask a question? Is this money coming, I know it's coming from the US EPA, I believe you said, Sarah. Is this part of the Inflation Reduction Act?
Yes.
Okay.
It's called, the Inflation Reduction Act created the CPRG, Climate Pollution Reduction Grant. So yes, that's where this is coming from. So we can thank our federal government for taking climate pollution and climate change very seriously. One thing that, Ms. Sinja.
When we have the meeting in person with all the people that are for the coalition, I'll make sure to send the invite out to you as well in case you want to join. Thank you.
And that's another exciting thing. We have 16 entities who want to join us on this. And we as King County are being the real leaders to move this forward, provide resources where they're needed to other smaller municipalities. And I mean, you said this already, but I'm sorry, I can't help saying it again. We did go out to Wabansie. Ms. Hinshaw and I went to Wabansie with an alderman at large from Aurora to speak with their contact for the CEJA workforce hubs, which happens to be Brian Knettel, doctor, the president of Wabansie. I asked for a contact and somebody gave me this guy's name, Brian Knettel. Well, it turns out he met with us for about an hour, very graciously, and they are working on a coalition amongst several community colleges to create a workforce hub, which is part of the CEJA grants. So there's more millions of dollars there. If you're not excited yet, get excited. So I want to say that we'll be working with all of our departments. We're going to be working with transportation, ag, everything you see in here, and you're going, wait a minute, what about our other departments? Of course, we'll be working with all those directors. And I want to report that we are moving along with the climate action implementation plan for Kane County. We had a great meeting yesterday. These meetings start at 11 and they go till 2:30. And we get one 10-minute break and we're on Zoom that whole time till you just, can hardly sit any longer, but we're making huge progress. We've worked through our criteria. We've worked through our action goals. Now we're working on potential partnerships, people and organizations we think would help us implement this so that it becomes a reality. So many things happening. And Rob, I have one more little announcement for you. Sierra Club is applying for a consultant fee to apply for a grant to study, fecal matter in Indian Creek in Aurora. So we're going to have more fun. I think it's separate. Okay. I don't know, but it's through the Fox River Study Group. So one more comment.
It's crappy to me.
Oh, no, he's done. Okay, do I have any further, for the good of the community, for the good of the earth?
I have a question and I don't want it answered today because we're going to run over.
This is your question.
But I
Okay.
was telling you, so I was driving on the road yesterday and I passed a waste management truck. Big thing on the side of it saying how we're using natural gas to fuel all our trucks. And my question was, I guess, you know, in my world, I just really hadn't thought about natural gas as a power source. So at some time, can you guys just kind of touch on that a little bit, maybe next month? Okay, thank you.
Yes, okay, moving right along.
Madam
quickly.
Chair, I would
Mr.
request that
Kreis?
we place the reports on file, maybe unanimous consent.
Thank you very much. Consent. Okay, thank you. Executive session not needed. Any public comments on non-agenda items? Okay, thank you very much. And
Roth will make a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Roth, second.
Strathman.
And then
Oh, and we need to
picture
take a
time.
picture.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
So everybody get ready for a
You want to
picture
meet up front there and get a picture?
by the doors. Okay.
Well,
And the next meeting
Maybe-
will start at